$10 a gallon avgas? Simventure coming before Airventure. An old school Huey Crash is killing 6, and a couple of guys get together and now have one of the biggest aviation community brands growing. This and more aviation news on Taking Off. Hi everyone, Dan Milliken with some aviation news. We are sponsored by some pilots who really like what we're doing, and these include Dean Syracuse of Flying Eyes, these glasses with the patented frames that are awesome under helmets and headsets, and also by Colton Mortgage. The founder and president is Brant. He flies a 210 like mine. And also by Nick at Marshall Protective Services. These aviators are supporting us here at Taking Off, and if you can support them, that would be awesome. Okay, before we get to the heartbreaking news, here's something really cool. Pilot Edge has created Simventure with actual Oshkosh controllers volunteering to work it. You don't have a plane or time to fly the Fisk arrival? Well, no worries. Jump on your sim at home, pick your plane, and enjoy the next best thing. Also, a great way to practice if you're going to be flying into Osh. They start it 2 weeks before Airventure. They just might call your 210 a Skyhawk. I've put the link below. It's really something else. And they even simmed a Just Plain Silly booth. Stick your landing right there and get a FSDO punch card. Just kidding. Check it out, though.
For the third year in a row, we're running Simventure, which gives pilots an opportunity to practice the infamous Fisk arrival, rock their wings. But the most important aspect is that they'll be actually talking to the real air traffic controllers that work Airventure. No better an opportunity to actually get the practice in and the proficiency in ahead of the actual event. Hope to see you there.
Speaking of Airventure, I hope you guys can make it to Oshkosh this year. Airventure begins Monday, July 25th through July 31st. And on that first day, we're going to do a meet and greet with some fellow aviation YouTubers at Forum Stage 8 at 2:30 p.m. In the meantime, Chewy back there. Well, we'd love to meet you, so stop by and say hi. Christy and I will be there all week, and if you can't make that and you see us, do come by and say hi. We'll also be doing some location in the hangar interviews at the Flying Eyes booth, so best chance to find us is there. All right, everyone's feeling the hurt at the pumps, and it's no different in aviation, and Chewy back there is feeling the hurt. I can hear him. 2 weeks ago, I could still find some places advertising a number starting with like a 4, but now you need to hunt to find even one in the $5 range. A more common is a number with a 6 in front. For full serve, throw a couple more dollars, and now, like right near us at Fort Worth Meacham, the 2 FBOs there are advertising almost $9.50 for avgas. A couple weeks ago, I flew a 210 across the country and found the average to be just in the high 5s. If you're flying to Oshkosh this year, make sure you look around. You can easily find a $2 to $3 difference per gallon, which can make a huge impact on your bill. On a side note, I find it interesting that I can find avgas. It's the same price when I fill up my car at the gas station. I guess it could always be worse, but just two short years ago in the early months of the pandemic, I was filling up at $2.20 a gallon. I miss those days. There's been another rash of crashes lately, and several hit a little closer to home. In West Virginia on June 22nd, 6 people died when the Vietnam-era UH-1B crashed. And right now it's a mystery as to what happened. And what we do know is that 3 of the 6 were qualified to actually fly that helicopter. We don't even know right now who was the pilot flying. For us in the Texas pilot community, this one really smacks us. Among the dead is John Nagel, a well-respected, well-liked pilot out of Central Texas. I knew John. We had chatted. He flew a whole bunch of aircraft, including gyros. I was hoping to have him on the show one day. Now, sadly, that's not going to happen. But the mission that day in West Virginia was to give back to the veterans and give them a chance to fly in the Vietnam helicopter. And that aircraft that crashed was November 98 Foxtrot. And before she had that registration, she was actually one of the early helicopters arriving in Vietnam in 1962. Many believe she was the oldest flying Huey in the world. She was number 488 out of over 10,000. And she didn't start out as a UH-1B. In 62, she was an HU-1, a true Huey. And most likely you've seen this particular helicopter. She was on the roof in the original Die Hard. She flew in Under Siege Dark Territory, was in The Rock, Broken Arrow, many more. But definitely more tragic than the loss of a historic machine is the loss of 6 precious lives. And John Nagel was an inspirational person and a hero to many. He leaves behind a wife and 3 children. John's brother, when asked if he could talk to John one last time, what he would say, and he responded, "Thank you for always being there. Thank you for taking care of my kids when I couldn't. and I will do my best to take care of yours. There's a GoFundMe in place. Please consider helping out our fellow aviation family. The link is in the description below. Go down there, click it. Let's help them out. It's great to see a grassroots aviation community effort taking hold and starting to spread. In September 2020, coming off the heels of not Oshkosh with the pandemic keeping everyone isolated, 3 Texas guys got together and hosted a little fly-in. And in a very short time, they've grown to an organization of over 60,000 on Facebook and monthly fly-ins with huge attendance. And it just keeps growing. These guys, Russ Keith, John Noggle, and Mike Roberts, have tapped into something with their airplanes and coffee.
So Airplanes and Coffee actually began in August of 2020. I had learned about Cars and Coffee, a similar organization, and as a student pilot, I thought to myself, there needs to be an Airplanes and Coffee. So I went online and created a Facebook group, and we slowly but surely just grew like we couldn't believe. Now the group has over 60,000 members. We have a fly-in every month, the first Saturday of the month, and we travel to different airports and invite as many people to come out and experience aviation. The sky's the limit, no pun intended, with what we've got going on here, and it's just been a beautiful transformation from a little small Facebook group into a large, thriving nonprofit organization. We really are excited to see where it goes. We have ambitions to eventually open up chapters throughout the country, maybe even the world. And we just want one thing, to spread the word of aviation and get more people involved. So it's been a beautiful, beautiful journey, and we've got a long way to go. So hopefully you guys can join our Facebook group, Airplanes and Coffee, and hopefully we'll see you at a fly-in in the future. Thanks.
Okay, so now just some summer pilot reminders. The air is less dense and your airplane does not have the performance you might be used to. Remember on takeoff, especially if you're hot and heavy, you might need a longer takeoff roll before you try to fly. And if you try to rotate like you're used to, you might find she doesn't quite want to fly. If you find yourself in that situation, keep building that airspeed up. If you rotated early and she's struggling but off the ground, lower that nose. Yes, I know it's counter to instinct, but you've got to build some speed and ground effects so you can get ahead of the power curve. I did a video on an accident where they were hot and heavy and aft heavy. You can watch it here. The important thing, do that takeoff briefing. Verbalize out loud, even if you're alone, what speed you're anticipating rotating, taking into account all the information you have, the plane, the weather, yourself, what you're going to do in case of emergency. Let's keep safe out there in the heat. I was pleasantly surprised when I got back from our Flying Eyes UK adventure. See, a fan had made a watercolor painting of me in my flight in the Jeff Provost. Wow, Barry, thank you very much. And if you want a painting, be sure to check out Barry Wood. Look at his Instagram. I'll put a link down there. Thanks, Barry. That was really nice. And also nice was Flying Eyes sponsoring our adventure in the United Kingdom. Check out that flight in the jets we took by clicking here. And remember, 10% off using the discount code TakingOff, all caps, one word, flyingeyesoptics.com. Also, Colton Mortgage, residential mortgage founded by a pilot like us. Start your app at coltontakingoff.com and get a hoodie and a free pair of Flying Eye sunglasses. And we are supported by Marshall Protective Services, also run by a pilot who believes in what we're doing. We can't do this without them, and we can't do this without you. Thank you guys for watching, and remember, superior judgment trumps superior skill. Stay safe, and we'll see you.